Hello, my name is Patience Wesley, and today I will be doing my WA5. So this is my WA5 final reflective project, and today I will be covering. I will be reflecting. I'll be reflecting over the past 4 projects, like the 4 projects that I have done in English. 1301 for Miss Miller's class. Okay. So I'm just gonna go off the book and I'm gonna just like that. I practiced this earlier, so I feel like I should have it all down. Okay, so let's get started with some of the things. Okay, it says some questions you should address in detail include. Okay, so question number 1. Has your understanding of literacy changed throughout the semester? If so, how specifically? If not, how do you understand literacy now that is similar to when you began? Okay, so my understanding of literacy has changed because at first I didn't know what literacy meant. I'm not even gonna lie about that. I didn't know what it meant, but I did know what the word literate meant, like as in like you're illiterate or you're lit. Well, actually, I did know what literacy means, but I would just say the word literate as in like I'm literate in this and I'm literate and I'm illiterate in that. So something like that I don't know about, I would be illiterate too. But now that I know about it, I'm literate. Or like the way how like I speak, I will be literate. Or it's like if I said something wrong, then I would be illiterate to it. So let's just let me answer the question. So my understanding of literacy has changed a lot through the semester. Actually, it's actually expanded a lot. Like now I'm more aware of certain situations and certain things that take place. Like some things that I didn't know about, like I've actually took the time out to like go look, like like to go look up stuff and see what it's about, like and what it means and like the background and the knowledge behind it, because it was something that I was actually interested in. Like before, my literacies, like they were kind of limited because all the stuff that I knew about, I believe like when I was jotting stuff down, I knew about soccer, fashion, hair, or natural hair to be specific. If you remember from my first video, that was the first thing I talked about. I knew about hair. I knew about having a retail job, doing stuff for fun. I knew about nails. I knew about arts and crafts. I knew about girly stuff. I knew about gospel. I knew about movies, Twilight movies to be specific. I knew stuff like that. But now it's like when it comes like to like worldwide stuff, like I now know China's Jesus. I know what's the word I'm looking for. I know China's like max capacity. Like I know how many people have like how many people that they can have in China, and I know like a whole bunch of stuff about different things. It just really depends. But I know more. Like my literacy has expanded. So question number 2. It says, what do you understand or think about literacy connected to identities? Gender, race, class, linguistic. Be specific and explain how you were thinking about this and why. What do you understand or think about literacy connected to identities? Okay, so I think that literacy being connected to identities is a good thing because each culture has its own background. Each race has its own background. Gender, class, linguistic has its own background. But I'm going to focus on gender, race, and class because I don't know much about the other one. So I feel like for gender that literacy is connected because like for now, in this day and age now, people are wanting to change their identities to be people like who they thought that they should have been like since birth. So I feel like that's the literacy because, like, at first, like, maybe they thought, like, like, for example, like transgender people, like, you have to be literate in that because it's a whole lot of stuff that they go through and people wouldn't know. So, like, for me, since I'm not like a transgender or I'm not like a part of that community, it would be something that I'm illiterate in because I know nothing about it, but I'll be very open to being literate about it. I actually feel like that's not a bad community to focus on when it comes to literacy because people like who study that, they're very literate and stuff like that. So I feel like literacy is connected with it in a type of way because it's a whole lot of stuff like that people don't know about, like when it comes like to transgender people. When it comes to race, I actually like this because I can relate to it. I feel like literacy has to be connected when we're talking about race, and I'm just gonna. I don't want to sound funny when I say this, but like especially like when it comes like to the black community, because people feel like the black community is always targeted, but people also like they don't know like the background off of it, they don't know the literacy and like like they just always feel like well, a perfect example would be like a black man dying or anybody like in the black community dying is always black. So I feel like there's literacy to be connected into identities because if you do the research, it's actually way more deeper than like like African Americans just dying, like it's everybody who's dying. But I understand. When it says class, I'm going to assume that we're talking about education. So, for example, like English 1301 and English 100, the two classes that I do take, there's different literacies, but English 100 is a follow-up class with English 1301. So the literacies are kind of different, but then again, it's kind of the same because in English 100, we just did a project on like the online communities, like in the literacies, like what do you know about it? And I chose broadcasting because broadcasting is my major. So it was very easy to say to tell the difference, like like in between the two and talk about it because like like it was easy. So with those two classes, I would say my literacies have expanded a lot because some stuff I wasn't open to, but now I am open to, and I'm seeing that like that is helping me in the long run. So yes, so it says, oh, okay. What articles impacted you and why? Specifically, what about them impacted you? I'm not gonna lie, no article has impacted me just simply because I'm not a reader. I don't really read like that. So for that question, I would not be able to answer. But maybe the story about the little girl. I forgot her name, but it's in here. Oh no, that's my other book. But it's the little girl, how like when she was crossing the border to come over to America, to come over to America to live the American dream. I would say that impacted me because she wasn't very literate, like in English, but like like she wasn't very literate. She wasn't very literate in English, but she made it her mission to become literate. Like like she never stopped her grind. She never stopped her grind, and she didn't let anybody like discourage her or whatever the fact may be. Like she had a dream, and her dream was to come over to America and live the American dream, and she didn't let anybody stop her from doing that. Despite anything like that happened, like from her getting, from people stealing from her and her getting, I think she got raped. I think she did. I don't remember. But like from that incident being sexually assaulted and stuff, she did not let that stop her. And it says, for the last question, were there moments in class that challenged you, interested you, made you think deeply about literacy? What were those moments? Okay, so our last project, which was WA4, that one really challenged me the most because I didn't know exactly how I was going to compare and contrast my two literacies in between each other. So that's what really made me think deep about it, because it took me a couple of hours to really think about like what to think about the literacies and how I was going to talk about them and compare and contrast them, because I didn't understand. But I didn't understand. I didn't know how I was going to put it into words. I didn't know how I was going to make it, make sense. But I had help from my friends, so it all it paid off in the long run. Overall, since I'm just reflecting, I would say from my first video until now, I feel like I have grown in some areas. Well, my literacy has definitely grown, because in all 5 of these videos, I've talked about something different in all 5 of them. So I feel like off of the 5 topics that I have done for this class, that my literacy has expanded a whole bunch. And it definitely makes me look at things different in the world now, especially since I'm a young adult. I look at things way differently, and I'm really glad that my literacy is expanding, because I feel like only from here on, all I can do is expand and just keep on going and moving forward. So yeah, so that's it for today, and this is my last video, unfortunately. I really have fun making it. I'm actually proud of myself, because this is my first time doing this, like the first shot for this video. And I actually did a good job, and I think I like it just how it is. But yeah, with that being said, this is my last video. I hope you enjoyed. I've enjoyed the time being in your class, Miss Miller. Thank you for teaching me. And I wish you the best.